Hello, everybody, and welcome to Naughty or Nice with Miss Cassie. That music was a little different tonight. That was kind of funky and fun.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa. Well, I want to welcome my very special guest, Goddess Moon,
Thank
Miss Sanctuary Leather 2015.
Yay.
An amazing lady. I always enjoy talking to her. She's a lady with a lot to say, and she is a force that demands respect.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here, you know, and starting to read your profile and everything. And, you know, the fact that you get the Victorian era, you know, I mean, that was a very special time. I mean, manners are kind of near and dear to my heart.
They are wonderful.
They are, because that's the first thing I do when people, you know, they want to, you know, oh, mistress, may I serve you? I warn them ahead of time. I said, I am very high protocol.
Yes.
And they go,
Yes.
well, what does that mean? I said, well, first of all, you will start your emails with a greeting, a full body, and you will finish with a proper closing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what? I'm like,
I have to go back to English class?
I'm sorry. I just feel it's a matter of respect to write it in proper letter format to me.
Absolutely.
And plus, I think it makes them think about what they're saying, other than so many people are so flippant with their emails and they just, you know, rattle off the first thing that comes to mind. You know, the sentence structure is horrible. Half the time, if they bother to read it, they would realize they really aren't getting their point across. You know, the grammar's so bad that, well, if I have to sit there and correct the grammar, I am not going to get the point of the statement.
I just stopped reading.
Did you?
I just stopped reading. If you noticed on my profile, it says, if you do not know what proper Victorian is, Google it.
Nice.
If you want to message me, know how to do it properly. I'm not asking much.
No, you're not.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, goddess, would be perfectly fine. Then let me know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
A send-off of my pleasure, good tidings, anything would be wonderful. But I get so many messages, and the reason I put that on there, because I was tired of the messages, of it's got a hi in the subject line.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
And then I open the message and it's, I want to serve you. I want to do this. I want to do that. One man, it was hilarious. I had to read it to all of my friends.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you because it's
Okay.
hilarious and I still have it. But one man messaged me and says, I want to train you anally. That was all the message said.
That's
okay. Where on my profile does it say that I want that? Number one.
I would just say no.
Number two, did you read my profile before you sent me a message? So yeah, I put that specifically there for two reasons. Number one, so they know what I require. Number two, to see if they read my profile. Makes it so much easier in life.
It does. Well, I know 99% of the men do not read my profile. I can tell by the messages they send me.
They don't read anybody's profile.
No, they don't. They look at the pretty pictures and they just automatically assume, oh my God, you know, she must be my fantasy and she will want to suck my dick. And it's like, I'm sorry, boys, I don't suck dick.
You've got to have a really, really pretty penis for me to put my mouth on it. I'm just saying. And I know you guys hate the word pretty, but I don't care.
Oh.
Some penises are pretty.
Cock,
Yes,
more cock.
I have seen some beautiful ones.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they look like, you know, museum quality.
And you just want to touch it and play with it.
Yes.
Sometimes do naughty things to it.
Sometimes. But yeah, I have actually seen that pretty pink just, oh my God, my pretty pony. I want to put a tutu on you. Oh, I mean, just that beautiful glowing pink.
The next penis I come in contact with, I'm just putting a tutu on it.
Somebody was making those. They were taking the tulle and they made like a scrunchie out of it, but it was like, went out like a little tutu, and it just fit right over the penis.
That is awesome.
It did. And you could choose whether or not to bring the balls through or not. I liked it better with the balls hanging down and the shaft sticking up. Mm-hmm. I thought that was much cuter.
Because it's a person with 2 little legs.
Yes. and of course they did them in pink.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, they were doing some sort of chastity sissy class or something, and that was the uniform du jour.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
The ideas that are coming through my head right now.
Yes, I think of all that leftover pink tulle I have left over from my hat from Victorian era, actually, that I took apart and dumbed down to the 1850s.
Oh, very lovely.
Well, I sang for a caroling group for a long time, and we wore costumes of the Romantic era. So I learned a lot about costume making, and I actually would have to take like Victorian or Edwardian and redesign them into the Romantic era. And it's fascinating, just the history of fashion alone, and the change in going from the flouncy stuff to the more very proper Victorian outfits. Yes. And then when the waist got smaller and longer, it's amazing.
I love the Victorian era. It is one of the times where being a gentleman was not a diss. It was something to be honored, to be proud of, to be called a gentleman. And to be called a lady didn't mean that you were less than. That meant that they respected you. That meant that they showed you respect and honor and grace for your womanhood.
You had to earn that position in life. Yes. It was nothing that was just, yes, you could come from a good family, but you had to actually come from a good family. And if you sullied that reputation in any way, you would basically be banished from that family or scurried away into the attic room, never to be heard from again.
Oh, yeah. It was a luxurious time, and the clothing was just stunning. It's a lot of clothing. I have one currently, and I literally pieced it together. I have one Victorian outfit that I pieced together myself. I found a woman who does wedding dresses. Beautiful. Just popped in her shop one day and was looking at it, and she was like, "Do you need anything?" And I said, "I like that dress." And she goes, "Okay." I'm like, "I just want the bottom half of it though." And she looked at me like, "Excuse me?" "I just want the bottom half." Because it was made out of satin, and it had a ruffle at the very bottom of it. And I was like, "Can you make me that in black satin, add 2 more rows of ruffles? I want a 3-foot train permanently bustled. I don't want to have to take it up and down. I just want it permanently bustled." Nice. And she said, "Okay." And she made it for me, and I still have it to this day. I actually saw it today. It has about, I want to say 10 layers of crinoline underneath. So literally I can stand it up and it will stay on its own.
That's amazing.
So I usually like put it in a corner and just stand it up, and it sits on its own. It's permanently bustled. It's heavy though. It is a heavy thing to be walking around in, with the corset and the tops with the lace and the ruffles and the jackets that accentuate your corseted waist, and then the hats and the gloves. And
oh, yes.
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing once it's done and it's done right, but you've got to have some chutzpah to wear it.
You do, because I make stuff like that. It's like I have all those ancient patterns, and I've made the lace mitts and the cute little frillies, the purses that go with the right thing, and the summer shawl, the winter shawl, the 2-layer, the cap that goes underneath the hat. I mean, it's amazing when you start getting into it.
I wish I liked the Romantic period a little bit more for their clothing, because they had it a little bit easier.
Yes.
It was a lot less fabric. Yes. But there's something about that just that silhouette of just
Mhm.
and walk and seeing it from behind, especially for the ladies, and they have their skirts bustled and that little ruffle at the end of the jacket, and there's just I just love it.
Well, it's tailored, but it's extremely feminine
Yes.
and accentuates, a women's curves,
Hmm.
without being garish or flaunting.
Yes.
I mean, you're fully clothed, but yet they can see you've got a shape.
Yes. Except the bottom half of you, because that's all skirt.
Oh, and I love that part in The King and I, and the children keep looking at Anna, and she's got that big, beautiful dress on, and she goes, "But why are they doing that?" They said, "You don't understand. They think that your body's that big."
And when they were dancing,
Uh-huh.
and her skirts were just flowing. It's I think that's where I got my love of it from, is just watching that flow back and forth.
Yeah, that is one of the most beautiful scenes. That movie is incredible because it really gets you to think in a different way. What if a culture comes over and sees our outfits and they can't see what's underneath of it? Would they think that we were shaped funny?
Hmm. Think about even the romantic period with the bustle in the back,
Mm-hmm.
because the romantic period slimmed down the skirt but kept the bustle.
Yes.
It's like, did you? Because that was the thing. Women with tiny little waists and very big bottoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they like that extra flow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, that has everything to do with fertility, though.
Oh yes.
Because a woman with really good birthing hips is not a skinny model.
No.
No. I'm afraid most of the women that we tout these days and we see in ads and everything, in that time, they would think they were initiated.
They were servants.
And yeah, they would have to be servants because they certainly wouldn't be good breeding stock.
No.
And, and they certainly wouldn't have that beautiful color. And yeah, it's just a whole different thing. Things have really turned around backwards. Instead of people looking healthy, they don't look healthy.
And I find it, and it's always crazy to me, because I took a costuming class in college. I was part of the theater department and the costumer needed help for one of the plays, because she had to make 9 identical bridesmaids dresses
Oh my
for a
goodness.
play. And then the director said, make sure there's a backup in case anything happens to one of the dresses on stage. So we ended up having to make 18 dresses, identical bridesmaids dresses. And so a lot of the work she did during her class.
Yes.
So I took the class with her, and I learned a lot about costuming, the origins of it, and how, as a costumer, when you get a script, how it works out. And reading a script from a costuming point of view and going, okay, so this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and this is going to happen. Doing research on the era. Okay, so if she's this old and she lives here, what would her clothing have looked like?
Exactly, because it used to be very specific at what age, what you wore, what. Also, their clothing was handed down from generation to generation.
Yes.
And part of a lot of how we got our fashion was the way they remade those dresses for the next girls coming up.
Yep.
So I mean, it's fascinating when you understand this. And that's why I was able to take Victorian dresses, and I just basically had to deconstruct them the other way.
Yep. And one of the things after I took that class that just, it's my biggest pet peeve. 2 things. Number one, the way that people walk and move in costumes that are period. Because if they were true to form, especially during the Victorian era, the Edwardian era, the time of King Henry, women were not able to move around very freely as we do today in our wardrobe. It was extremely stiff.
Yes.
It was about 10 yards of fabric.
Yes.
Just for the simplest outfit. God forbid you were a princess or a queen.
Yes, the higher up you were in society, the more complicated your clothing was. Because we ran into this when we were making the dresses, going, well, if we make it true to pattern, we can't move and we won't be able to carry our choir books. So, because they actually made the sleeves down here because they were sitting there all day in the parlor doing embroidery.
Oh, yeah.
They did not need to lift their arms in any way, shape. They never need to do anything more than this. And so the dresses, and of course, sitting down there, that remained perfectly. But you try to move one of those, no, that doesn't work. The servant dresses were much different.
Oh, yeah. We, during the time when I took the class, the movie Elizabeth came out, which was an amazingly beautiful movie, costume-wise, in that they got it as true to form as possible as they could.
That's amazing.
But the women did not move true to period. And that was something that we were taught to look at. When you're looking at a movie, look at it from the costuming point of view.
Yes.
See, are they interacting with their environment true to form? And the other thing that gets me is the women that are chosen to play these parts do not look true to form.
True.
Because Elizabeth wasn't skinny. She was a queen. She didn't have much to do. She wasn't skinny.
No.
And
she was well fed because they could afford real food.
Yes.
They weren't hoping for, some extra flour or this, that, or otherwise.
Or even a cube of meat.
A cube of meat, yes.
Could feed an entire family. Because you had to make do.
You did, that's why they had gruel and broth.
Oh, yeah. And so I look at these movies and I'm just like, yeah, she's too skinny. It's sad. Because women looked like me back in the day.
Yes, they did. You were what women wanted to be. That if you study it throughout the ages, and I studied art history in college, the Venus of Waldorf, beautiful. You are Venus of Waldorf. And that goes way back, and every culture, that's what, because it's a symbol of fertility. It meant that you were well enough off, or you could afford to eat, and if you were really skinny, it meant that you had nothing.
Yeah, that meant that you were the lower class.
It did.
But it's okay, We're getting. I see. Fortunately, in Hollywood, we're getting back to it. We are getting actresses who are standing up and saying, no, I will not become a size 0 to play this part. I will not lose 40, 50 pounds in a week just to play this part.
That's not physically possible.
And then keep it off for 6 months. Starving myself, basically. They're not. And I think it's wonderful. I think they are not only being powerful role models to the women, to the young girls coming up now, but to their children and to the little girls who are growing up and going, Mommy, I want to be an actress. Mommy, I want to be a model. Now their mothers and the women in their lives can go, yes, you can.
Yeah, there's
and you don't have to change yourself.
Yeah, there was just a woman on the front page of one of the fashion magazines, and she's much larger than we've ever seen for a plus size model.
She's a true plus size woman.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she's a size 22.
Yes, I saw that and I said, that is awesome. That's really plus size. It's not a size 12. A size 12 to 14 is average.
Yeah.
Average.
But that's what the scary thing is. In today's world of fashion, a woman size 8 is considered plus size in modeling.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, a size 8 top would not fit my thigh. Just one of them. That's beyond crazy to me.
Well, when I went to modeling school, I was actually in my 40s. I was very skinny. I was about 127 pounds. I'm 5'8".
I haven't seen that weight since I was like 6.
The guy that ran the modeling school, he says, "Is there any way you can teach that to the kids coming up? They could really learn something from you. This is the weight they need to be."
Mhm.
I just said, "No, I can't teach this. I wouldn't want to teach that.
Mm-mm.
I know why I was that way because I spent my entire life looking at feeling fat.
Mhm.
Fat. Even at 127 pounds, I felt fat. And at that weight, doctors will actually look at me and wonder if they should put me in the hospital because I look extremely gaunt. And yet I would still back then. Of course, I'm nowhere near that weight now.
You look fabulous, don't worry about it.
Everybody's like, fine. But, I just, I think about what drove me to be there and that I was at that, and that somebody would actually say that, we should be telling children to do this. And I'm just like, no, you don't tell them to do that. They should be eating healthy. They should be doing this healthy. They should just eat right and exercise and be the best they can for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because every body type has a way that that looks good on them.
Oh yeah.
And it usually isn't underweight. That really doesn't look good on anybody.
No.
Not at all. And I know by now there's got to be some questions in this chat room.
I know, but there's some people in the chat room. There's Patty, there's Entropy, there's Darren, there's Frank, and there are people that are watching us on Meerkat also. For the people that are watching us on Meerkat, we are broadcasting live on TSRnetwork.com. It's where real people talk about real sex with really kinky people. And so we have people that are in the chat room. There's quite a few people. Let's see, on Meerkat. I'm getting close to the iPad. You've had already 22 people viewing. 3 are in there. They look pretty hot. Good-looking men. All right. Just my cup of tea. Okay. I think they're waiting for us to get like sexy. Now there's 4 of them. One just another one. Whoa, baby. So, he just went out. I guess I kind of shamed him. So, yes, we're broadcasting live on TSRnetwork.com, on Meerkat, on Google Hangout, on Facebook, on FetLife, on Twitter, all of the places. Please come and watch the shows. And if you want to come to TSR Network and go into the chat room, come in the chat room. Wow. And now it's up to like 25 people. They're jamming in. They're going, sex. Well, the minute I said sex, they probably tweeted it out.
No.
Well, we can talk about sexy things. Ask us questions.
Yeah,
questions get sexy things talked about.
Okay, we'll ask the chat room. Give us some sexy questions, anybody. We're going to wait.
Well, why do you think the corset has become such a sexual item in our culture?
I think because of the way it reshapes the body form. It brings the attention up to the breast or down to the hips.
True.
Because it's minimizing the waist. And so it brings out that hourglass shape, that Marilyn Monroe shape.
Mm-hmm.
That Dita Von Teese shape. And one of the great things about corsets is you put one on it, and it doesn't matter if you have size A boobs or size F boobs. You've got boobs when you're in a corset. It just works. It just works. I would have worn one tonight, but I like to be comfortable.
Yes,
and I'm not doing Victorian today, and I'm not in my usual get up. So I was like, and I thought about it, and I was like, should I wear a corset? I was like, no, I want to be comfortable. So I did the belt today. I did the belt thing, but I did not do the corset thing. But yeah, it's funny enough. A couple years ago, I'm still in school. I'm taking it one class at a time because, well, that's just how life is for me. But they made me take a speech class. And I didn't want to, but I did anyway. It was an 8-week course during the summer. And we had to do a exemplary speech, which means showing examples of what you're talking about. And I decided to do my speech on corsets, boots, and the hanky code.
Oh my goodness.
and how mainstream media is mainstreaming fetish. Because what got me to that idea was the pony shoes. Seeing celebrities like Rihanna and Britney Spears wearing pony shoes. And I was like, wait a minute.
Oh my goodness.
I know where those come from. And so I started doing research, and what I did for the class was, number one, I wore one of my corsets. And then I took pictures of celebrities wearing corsets, latex. And then I got pictures off the internet of people in our community wearing those same things. And so I would show the picture of the celebrity, and I'd talk a little bit about the corset or latex wear. And then I'd show a picture of the community person in that same item. And the people, it blew their minds. Absolutely blew their minds. And I was like, where do you think the fashion industry and mainstream media get these ideas? They're not just popping up out of nowhere.
No, they're not.
We've been wearing them for years. And we got them. We continued the corsetry. That wasn't something that we just decided, ooh, that's cute, let's bring it back into fashion. We kind of kept it going.
Well, we kept it going. We somehow along the way it got turned into something sexy, and we kind of like that.
Yeah. Same thing with latex, and the hanky coat just blew their minds. The fact that them wearing bandanas of certain colors is telling people certain things about them that they didn't realize.
Yes, I've got my gray hanky that, if I go to a conference outside of LA, I'll wear that, because people will know.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. But, yeah, I think many of the boys stopped wearing certain hankies, but that's okay. Do we have a question?
We have a question and a statement. The question is the statement is from Entropy. Entropy's in the chat room. Darren's in the chat room. Frank K is in the chat room. Patty's in the chat room. TSR Tech is in the chat room. Melody TSR is in the chat room. And Entropy says, corsets make women more women shape. So the appeal is obvious for those of us who love the shape of women. And then he says, it always cracks me up when the mainstream's adopting what we do and not realizing it. And so, which is awesome. And then the question is from Frank. Frank said, did you both get into BDSM because of the book of 50 Shades of Grey?
My Lord, I was into it long before that book came out.
Yes, as my profile, if you ever happen upon my profile on FetLife, it says, I've been in the community for going on 16 years. So it was way, way, way before 50 Shades of Grey.
And then they say, was it story of,
no.
I don't know. I haven't read any of these books people talk about. I just ended up in this community because I'm one kinky gal.
I always kind of knew I was a little bit of a freak. The way I got into the community was I took a human sexuality class.
Oh, wow.
And the teacher was amazing in that any topic she talked about, she would have a panel of people to talk to the class. So the class could ask the questions that they wanted to ask and would be able to ask people who knew what they were talking about. And this went for porn, transsexuality, homosexuality, BDSM, anything and everything that we talked about in the class. She would have people come in and talk, and we had one on BDSM.
Wow.
And it was, I think, a panel of like 5 or 6 people. And what they did was they first gave a little bit of an introduction on themselves and, where they kind of grew up, how they got into BDSM, what their kind of favorite things are. And then they would open it up for questions, and then they would have show and tell of their toys. And one guy had this electric fly swatter, the one that looks like a tennis racket.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, if anybody wants to try it, raise your hand. And I raised my hand because I was intrigued by this.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? And so he zapped me on the hand, and I went, do it again. And he did it, and I was like, that's awesome. And the teacher was like, okay, let other people try. And I was like, fine. And then after class, she said, I think there's some people you should meet. And she introduced me to OCLA. And this was that many, 16 years ago.
That's amazing.
She said, and OCLA, and I went and I did their educational classes and their demonstrations and things like that. And that's how I got in this community.
Oh, wow.
I had not read a single kinky book. I had read a book when I was about 14. My mother bought it for me. She didn't even know what it was about.
Wow.
She just knew I loved to read. So any books she'd pick up and give me. And it was about England, back when they had brothels and things like that.
Mm.
And this woman's family got destituted. And instead of asking this gentleman to help her, she basically said, I want you to help me become a woman of the brothel. And he was intrigued by her, and so he said yes. And so he would take her around to these different brothels, and they would watch what was going on, and he would teach her the ways of the women of the brothel. And one scene, they were having sex, and he took out a glass dildo and fucked her with it. And that is what intrigued me. That scene alone, and I don't remember the name of the book. I don't have the book anymore. I've been trying to find it for years. So if anybody knows the name of that book or has read it, please let me know.
Wow.
But yeah, that scene just opened up that spark. And then my teacher, in her wonderful way of teaching, solidified it and sent me on my little merry way.
Aww.
So yeah, I didn't start reading kinky books until after I was in the community.
I don't think I've really read any kinky books. I've always been a science fiction gal. Now I read those books of blood, by Clive Barker. I mean, with Pinhead. Yeah. I mean, that's about as close as I get to BDSM porn.
Try the Anne Rice Sleeping Beauty series. That's a good series.
Nice.
Oh,
That and
yeah.
vampire stories.
Oh, yeah. I have to butt in.
Yeah.
I read all 3 books in one weekend from the Sleeping Beauty. I never left the bedroom. All I did was masturbate. One after another, after another, after another. It was fucking awesome.
Have you read the 4th?
No, I haven't. That's her new one, right?
Beauty's Kingdom.
I haven't read that yet.
It's bringing us back in.
Oh, good.
It's bringing us back in. So those of us who loved it and need that kind of reintroductory into the kingdom, it's good.
Her writing is so superb compared to 50 Shades of. I don't even want to talk about it. Never mind.
Let's just go this way. Anne Rice is one kinky motherfucker.
Oh, I know her.
Oh,
whoa. Oh, I didn't realize it was Anne Rice. Is she writing under Anne Rice or under her other name?
A.N. Rokuler.
But we all know it's her.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
no,
she's
it's
writing
Anne
under her
Rice.
other-
I think it's A.N.
She's writing under her erotic name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know she writes erotic fiction as well as the vampire series, the witching series, and all the other ones that she's done.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Ooh, yay, question.
Yes.
Question in the chat room. Frank asked, where is that question? Hold on a second. He asked, what roles do you guys play in BDSM?
Do we have an hour?
What's the fantasy du jour?
And Darren in the chat room says, I'm into being kinky, not reading about someone else's kink.
I will agree and disagree on that. I enjoy being kinky. I love being kinky. But being able to read from someone who understands it and gets it, she has some things in those books.
Yeah.
I just need to win the lottery. And I seriously, I would recreate that kingdom.
The beauty series, I can't get that white cat out of my head. I'll tell you something, I would go back to that one and I would just fucking masturbate. I'm not into bestiality, but fucking A.
That scene, I was like, I don't know why I find this hot, but I do.
Oh.
But the scene that got me was when Oh my lord. Beauty's husband. And I'm thinking his name's Tristan, but I know it's not.
Yes.
Laurent.
Oh, Laurent.
Laurent, Beauty's husband. The scene after he got captured from running away and he's on that post with his arms and legs spread out and the phallus up his ass and they're just taking him around the castle and the village. That I was like, I might want to try that. Because that sounds kind of hot to me. Because you think every bump in the road, he's being fucked through the entire village.
Nice.
She gave me some ideas. So yes, I like being kinky, but if I can get some ideas from somebody else, why not?
Hey, whatever fuels the imagination.
We all want to keep it fresh. We all want to keep it new. And that's why we're a community. That's why we talk. That's why we connect, is to get that energy exchange.
Oh, yeah.
And if I can learn something new from you that I never even thought of doing, it's all good.
It is all good. Is there another question now?
Yeah, they're discussing this in the chat room. Darren says, yeah, but their kink isn't my kink. And then Entropy says, no, we all can find inspiration all over. There's always something new to learn and something new influence to explore. And oh God, I think I gotta find my beauty series books and bring it out.
I have it on my Kindle because I have the Kindle app. So I have it on my computer, on my phone, on my tablet. Anywhere that I can upload the Kindle app, I've got my books.
Wow.
And I actually have them in actual book form because I'm a reader, so I love just being able to smell.
That was my
feel.
first addiction in life was books, because when I've got my library card, in like first or second grade, book after book after book, and my true guilty pleasure, brand new hardcover leather bound book. There's nothing like it. It's as good as smelling like fresh leather, but it's a book.
Yes,
it's a book and it's leather, and it's new.
And the paper.
The
paper has a smell.
It does.
It's a wonderful thing.
Oh my God. But I also have an office supply fetish. So we're just, I'm getting off on just talking about the book itself. The hell of what's in it.
So
it's like maybe the book.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely a bookie. And people look at my friends. My friends know that if I'm like, I won't hear you. I literally go into the book. I hear, I smell, I feel, I taste.
That's cool.
In a book. And they will literally rip it out of my hands in order to talk to me. Because they know once I'm in the book.
But there's some books that, don't do that. I have had, some books, you just can't, you start it and it's just like, you're gone. It's just too bad, world. You can just miss me for an hour or two here, 3. I don't care. It's like, this is where I'm at. I've been there. I love when you truly get that escape.
I read I'm going to completely be a nerd right now. I read the last Harry Potter in 6 hours.
Skimmer.
You're a skimmer.
No, you can't do it.
I learned, both my parents were readers.
Yes.
And so I would always pick up something and play that I was reading along with them. So they taught me how to read. So at about 1.5 to 2 years, I knew how to read.
That's awesome.
And so at nighttime, they would sit in bed and read. So I would join them.
Nice.
And both my parents were speed readers. So that's how they taught me how to read. And
so you read fast.
Yeah. I actually, if I'm reading a book for pleasure and don't want to read it in a day, I have to give myself chapter counts. I have to say I can only read 2 chapters today and then put it down and put it away, or else it doesn't matter. 200 pages, 1,000 pages, I will read a book in a day. Wow. And that's expensive.
Yes, that is an
that's expensive.
habit. You know, and I find that myself because it's like having to get through textbook after textbook. I have a tendency to speed read a bit, you know, but when I actually get into a juicy book like that, I make myself slow down and actually read every word, you know, instead of just reading an entire sentence and getting the gist of it and making myself immerse myself in it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, there's been a few books.
You said you like vampires.
Oh yeah.
Have you read J.R. Ward?
You know, I don't know if I have or not.
If you
I haven't looked at my vampire collection in a while.
If you had, you would remember because she's current. Her series is still current.
Oh.
It's called the Black Dagger Brotherhood.
Oh, okay, then I definitely have.
They are yummy vampires who live in today's world. So they listen to today's music. They wear the clothes. They drive the cars. They are.
But it's not like that Twilight series.
No,
because I couldn't get into that. That just made me laugh.
Yeah, they are specially bred to protect the vampire race. Between the most ruthless men and the most shrewdest women were put together to breed these vampires, who are literally just 7 feet tall, 400 or 500 pounds of just brick house muscle.
That sounds yummy, but my favorite vampire stories are the erotic lesbian ones.
Oh yeah, those are good too.
Yeah.
Slut.
Oh my God, there's nothing like
that's
vampire sex in space.
You know?
Just say,
Girls. If you guys are watching us on M.A.P, this is live on TSRnetwork.com, and this is the Naughty and Nice Show with Miss Cassie, and her guest is Goddess Moon. You know, they've been talking about books, and you know what? We never answered the question from Frank K in the chat room. Wanted to know what roles you guys play in BDSM, which is bondage, discipline, and sadomasochism.
Okay. We got off on the books. And we were saying, you know, it's like, how many roles in a day do you want to play? It's like
my major roles are currently I am a title holder, Miss Sanctuary, so that is definitely a role that I have. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm definitely trying to be a support and a person to come to ask questions, to be that beacon. And if I don't know the answer, I definitely will put you to the person who can give you that answer and that help in our community. Other than that, I'm a dominant switch. I know a lot of people go, huh? I'm mainly dominant, but I do have a submissive side. I'm a service sub. I'm title. I love serving and being of service. I love being a mentor and a guide to someone who's new. I love being able to sit with someone and help them to discover their passion in BDSM and kink. Education is a new thing for me. I love going to classes. Now it's interesting that people are coming to my classes. It's quite weird, standing up and talking in front of a group of people instead of the one-on-one or two-on-two that I like to do.
But that's part of the growth of this community.
Yes.
As many of us who get into this young, we start out as submissive, we grow.
Yes.
We grow. And a lot of times that's, you know, a lot of people don't think about the dominant part of this. You know, they only think about I'm restrained and this, that, and, you know, people are doing sexual things to me. And, but yeah, it's a whole growth thing. And dominance is how do we explain this? It's a state of mind, but it's a lot of responsibility.
It is. It took me a while to get comfortable in my dominance. Because I started out as a submissive and kind of worked my way up through the ranks. But for me, it was being able to allow someone to gift me the honor of their submission and being okay with having that and the responsibility that comes with it. Because that's a heavy burden for someone to take on someone's wants, needs, and desires and know that you are giving them what they need and also taking care of yourself in return. So yeah, it took me a while to get to that point where I was like, I can do this. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be okay.
Well, the hardest part for me was that I was so used to being the one that did everything. Allowing others to do things for me is really, really hard.
And that's something that true dominance you get is that allowing someone to do for you doesn't take away from your dominance.
Exactly.
It actually enhances it.
Well, it does. You know, and understanding how to delegate that. And, you know, one thing that a lot of my people, when I take them on, they're all like, you know, well, what's your protocol? And I said, my protocol is different with every person that serves me. I want to see what your talents and desires and your strengths are. And I also want to know what your weaknesses are. And then this dynamic is going to work based on our balances. And yes, I'm going to have you do some great things that you are strong at. I'm also going to have you do a few things you're not so strong at to hopefully help you grow stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot goes into this when I take somebody, you know, it's like, you know, they go, well, you just want to know this now. I said, I'm not just going to play with you. This is not a play session. If you want a play session, I'm a professional dominatrix. I work at Sanctuary. You can book me. I am an expert in what I do. I teach rope bondage. I'm amazing at that. I do suspension. I do a lot of other things. I spank professionally. I flog. I can even throw a whip.
Awesome.
You know, it's like my list of kinks goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, if all you want to do is play, book me for a session. But if you want to play and play lifestyle with me, well, before I play with anybody, they have to get to know me first.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out what's going to give here. If I'm going to play for you, what are you going to do for me in return? And do you know what kind of play that I like? I'm not looking for an oral slave. You will never see my vagina.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
We have questions in the chat room.
Yay!
We also have Tommy from England has come into the chat room on TSR.
Hey, Tommy.
On TSRnetwork.com. There are 60, 70 some people watching us on Meerkat.
Nice.
And so it's pretty good. There's lots of people that are in for the long run on Meerkat, which is great. Lots of people are watching us on TSR Network and on Facebook and FetLife. But the question was, let's get some questions out there, says Entropy. Goddess Moon, how daunting do you find the responsibilities that come with being a title holder?
Oh, I love you, Entropy. I love Entropy. He is just,
isn't he great?
He is amazing and wonderful, and so happy that I got to see him at DomCon this year. So happy I got to see you. I love you.
Absolutely.
So what was the question again? Something about daunting and title holding.
How daunting is the responsibility of title holding, being a title holder? And for the people that don't know, that maybe America that doesn't know anything about BDSM, what is a title holder?
A title holder is a representative of an organization, a dungeon, as I am, or a bar or a club. And what they do is they go out and they represent their organization and also support other organizations and community members. Title holding started during, I'll try to get this right. It started during the AIDS crisis. and bars and clubs needed people to represent them to go out into the community and to raise money to help their brothers and their sisters who had fallen to the AIDS crisis. And it started with drag queens.
Really, I thought that the leather community goes far deeper than that because I've heard tale of older gentlemen that say as far back as the 50s, you know, getting involved in the leather bar and having to go very, very high protocol.
Oh yeah, that started with the gentleman coming back from World War II
Okay.
and wanting that camaraderie and what you hear called the old guard.
Okay.
That's where that all started. And the title holders were drag queens and people going to the bars and needing that support. And they were the ones when members would pass away, they were the ones who went into their homes and packed up their homes
Oh, that's amazing.
and dealt with all of their final stuff. And then as we kind of moved away from that, then it was about being alive again and sex and all of that stuff and who could get people into the bars again and helping us feel alive and helping us feel that vitality. Today, I think it's a mixture of both. I know my brothers in LA and all of the title holders that I've been able to meet and connect with, they are very much about being a part of, they're wanting to be a part of our community and to give back and to support and to raise funds. Like there are the Piosas, and a lot of our community members are right now bicycling from San Francisco back to LA,
Really?
including Midori.
Really?
Midori's
with
doing
them?
it, yes.
That's awesome.
And some of my title brothers are up there right now, and I think it's wonderful that they're doing the AIDS life cycle race from San Francisco to LA. I think that's amazing.
That is amazing.
And so that's what we do. We go out and we support and we raise funds for amazing charities and for our community. It's a big responsibility to have someone's organization on your back. Literally.
Yes.
Literally, November 16th, I became Mr. Cyan's representative.
Oh yes, I know,
And
because I didn't run this year because I knew there was no way I could devote that kind of time this year. I mean, because it is a serious commitment.
it is.
And if you love Mr. Cyan as much as I do, you want to do your best for her, for Sanctuary, and for the community.
Absolutely. And I am honored. I am honored to represent the ladies at Sanctuary. I'm honored to represent Mr. Cyan. Sanctuary was a home to me when I came. When I came in back in 99, 2000. That was my initial start in the community. And I came and I went and I came and I went. And then a friend of mine worked with Cyan. She used to do the registration desk back when DomCon started. And she kept hounding me to come and hounding me to come. And finally I did.
Wow.
And I went to my very first DomCon by myself. I only knew her. And I came back every year. And of course, it initially was Passive Arts.
Yes.
That was the studio that held the play parties.
Yes, I do remember when it was Passive Arts.
Then we had our tragedy, and Cyan lovingly took up the daunting task of giving us a home again. And she gave us Sanctuary, and it has been my home. It has been the place that I know no matter what, I can go to Sanctuary. I can have a good time. I can have a space. And we have a number of amazing dungeons. The Lair, Dragon's Gate.
Oh, yes.
Florida Lee out in Redlands, and Club X, and now there's the Stomping Ground. There's many spaces. But for me, it was Passive Arts and then Sanctuary.
Well,
And
yes.
so to be able to represent has been an absolute honor. The responsibility sometimes is overwhelming. To if you sit and think about it for too long, it can definitely
Well, absolutely. Whoa. And when I got to thinking about the community outreach and truly when you embrace the responsibilities, and you have been amazing at this.
Thank you.
You really have, because I've known a few title holders, you know, and each one's done their bit, but your outreach has been tremendous.
Thank you. Thank you. Everywhere I go, and it's funny, I usually have a sash that I don't have right now because they're extending it for me. If you see any of my pictures, my sash looks like I stole it from a child and I'm running around in it. So they're extending it so that it fits my body type a little bit more. They thought somebody's shea size was going to win again. But that's okay. I love it. I love it. I love it.
She's tiny.
Yes, she is. She's very tiny, but I love my sash mommy. But anytime I'm out and about, especially if you wear a sash, you kind of get this from people. And you have to realize they're reading your sash. And so I see that, and then I'm waiting for either they're going to know what it is, and they're going to be like, oh, you're my sanctuary, or they're not going to know what it is, and they're going to go, what's that?
Yes.
And so I have to be able to tell them what sanctuary is, what my title is about. And then they go, oh, so what have you been doing? I've been trying to go as many places as I possibly can fund, because my title is not a traveling title. It's a local title. So anywhere I go outside of LA, I fund on my own, including IMSL, which I went to, Sin in the City in Vegas, Leather Heat. I'm going to Desire, but Desire's for me. I'm hoping to go to ABW in October.
But even when you are going for yourself, you're
I'm
still a representative.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if since November 16th, my face, my body does not belong to me. It belongs to the community. It belongs to Cyan. It belongs to you ladies who work at Sanctuary. Because anybody who sees me connects my title with me. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm happy to be that representative. And I am honored to have such an amazing producer who literally said, there's a couple things that I would rather you not do. Other than that, go have fun. No requirements on anything I'm supposed to do other than her slaves auctions at the end of the year and to be at my step down, which why wouldn't I be there?
Of course.
But it's like she has given me leeway to do what I want, what I can. And it's amazing. I have been so honored to just be there. And if somebody needs me, if somebody has a question, I'm available to be there and to support my brothers and my sisters who are title holders. I started the class of 2015 title holding group on Facebook.
Nice.
So if any of you out there are current title holders or past title holders, come find us. And I did it because, number one, I didn't just want to know my brothers and sisters here in California. I knew I was going to meet them somehow, some way. I wanted to know everybody. We have people from Ireland,
I did a search
England,
on Facebook
Scotland.
for leather, trying to find groups involved in our leather community that I could post the announcement for tonight's show in, because I felt it was important. And I was really surprised at how little came up.
Yeah.
I really thought that there would have been one for every single leather contest that we've had in LA, that somebody would have made an event page or something would have come up. And I was very, very surprised that more didn't come up about the leather community.
We're getting more visible. It's just taking time. And it also takes someone to do it.
True.
It takes someone to go out there and say, I'm going to start this group. And if you want to join me, join me.
And I know that a few years ago, I had one of the women title holders was on my friends list. And there was always something going out. I was Southwest Women Leather, always, constantly. It was on Facebook, it was on FetLife, and the presence was constantly there. You know, and I haven't, that's why I was really surprised when I put that in, that I didn't see anything come up, because 2 years ago when I did that, it was all over my page.
It's getting, I will say, being a title holder also comes, what I love about our patches is that they're very pretty targets. And they're target shaped. See, it's round.
They
They're
are.
target shaped. And a lot of us get it, and we kind of, aren't putting ourselves out there as much as we should and we could, because of the backlash
True.
of being a title holder and the title system. But there are title holders who are out there and they're putting it out there constantly. I'm trying to get better at it. Because I'm very much I like to stay in the background and do things.
Yes.
And not put myself center stage. But I have a responsibility to my producer and to the people that I represent. I have to put myself out there. And so you might have seen, or since we've been friends, on my Facebook page, any event I go to, I try to at least get 1 or 2 pictures, either by myself or with other title holders or people at the events, so that people can see me, can see the title, can see Sanctuary being represented.
Oh, absolutely. And that's
because
important.
there are so many people in our own area who don't know about Sanctuary.
I know.
And think that, oh, it's just a professional dungeon. It's like, no.
We get all sorts of ideas of what people think this place is. I've got an add-on meetup for my rope classes. And a lot of people, they find either they're curious about bondage. They find me, they attend a class, and they come to Sanctuary. They go, we never knew anything like this could ever exist.
Yes.
And they're fascinated. And then I usually lose them as students, because then they're into taking every class at Sanctuary and going to every party, and they don't have any money to take rope classes. But you know what? It's really awesome.
Yes.
When they discover that.
Oh, definitely. And I've been going around, and everybody that I talk to, I say Sanctuary is a pansexual dungeon. It's a safe space to come and be. We have educational classes. We have all gay men parties. We have all women parties. We have pan parties. We have different rooms for whatever kink you're into, or whatever kind of fantasy you want to have. The shower room is one of my favorites.
Oh, the Greek shower.
Yes.
That is
only
nice.
because I love the scenes that go on in there. I've never actually done a scene in there, but I love walking through and seeing the scenes.
Oh yeah, I've done a few scenes in there. We put somebody in a leather straitjacket and then grabbed them by the hair and proceeded to just waterboard them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was hot. Any more questions, Mel, or anything?
On Meerkat, Mr. Hardy Har types in the chat room in there, like this. There's quite a few people. There's been 87 people. There's 6 people that are watching right now. So they've been coming in and out, which has been really great on Meerkat. Thank you, everyone from Meerkat.
Absolutely.
You're watching the live show at TSRnetwork.com.
Wow. That's so cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, I've been, I told them, I'm like, you got to come out. You got to come see what we have. Parties, there's, I think, a party every single weekend. Some group is throwing a party every weekend.
Oh, yeah. I know Sanctuary generally has usually a Friday and Saturday night event, and catering to all different things. You never know what the theme's going to be. And I think the thing that is most exciting when somebody discovers this for the first time and they're like the kid in the candy store, and you can just see their eyes just cannot get big enough. And the first thing everybody says is, I never knew there was other people out there like me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time in my life I have ever felt at home.
Oh, yeah. And that's what it is. It's a sanctuary. It's a safe space for you to come and be.
Exactly.
You don't have to wear leather. You don't have to be dressed in vinyl or corsets or anything. I have gone to Sanctuary for a party in jeans and a t-shirt. And
they
happy.
rarely enforce a fetish dress code.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a few parties where that was required. And you know what? I never saw anybody that when it wasn't required, they all show up in the proper dress code. Mm-hmm. But I think even if, let me see, I don't think There's only maybe one time I seen where they had to actually turn somebody away was because it was like a bondage ball or something, and it was high protocol, and people were expected to be in full latex or full leather.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's rare that we
Oh,
have
yeah.
events that are that high protocol that anybody would be turned away. Usually we're like, please come in, share, get educated. Let us
Oh,
show you
yeah.
how to do this safely, and then turn you loose.
Oh yeah. But if you think about it, even DomCon, the Friday play party and the Saturday the fetish ball. Yes, it's touted as a fetish ball, dress in your best and everything else. But I've seen people in like a button down and slacks.
Yes.
And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to be all done up to come out. Come out.
True, we know some of your kinks are vanilla clothing.
Yes.
You know, some people purposely like to do the vanilla thing. Take it to the hilt.
You know?
I mean, that in and of itself, if you think of, well, what about like 1950s play?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I love the pinup.
Yes. I love playing dress up. Oh my God. It's so funny whenever, there's a theme. It's like I just go into my costume box. I have something. I was like, I just did Anarchy's Marvel versus DC. It's like, I pull out an entire Batgirl outfit. I had the thing there, and I have gauntlets, and I had the cape, and
awesome.
oh my God.
Yeah, I love doing dress up. Like I said, I love the Victorian. I also love the pinup. I've been getting into that a lot. And that's one of the great things about our community is it's whatever you like.
It is. I have such a vast array of fetish clothes. It's unreal. A lot of it's whim based, and I do have some preferences of things and it's like, I don't know how I've ended up with so many leather pieces now. I remember when I was, much younger and just, my first leather jacket was such a huge deal. I didn't get my first leather jacket until I think in my 30s. And now it's like I must have like 6 leather jackets.
Funny enough, I have a pair of 20-hole Doc Martens.
Wow.
I just got them in January. They're my first ever Doc Martens. I have 2 leather corsets. No, 3, because I got one this year from Miss Martha. And my sash.
Nice.
That's my leather. I have leather looking clothes.
Oh, I have some of those too.
I have clothes that look like leather. And if you think they're leather, thank you. Because,
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't. Number one, it's too expensive because I'm a larger girl. Designers think that I will spend $1,000 on a skirt. Nope.
eBay. I'm not
I've
kidding.
tried.
My girlfriend said,
I've tried, but they're few and far between.
well, true.
And so, I want, that's another thing that I want people to know is the leather community, we wear our leather differently. Before I became a title holder, I didn't have one piece of leather.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Oh yeah. Because wearing leather isn't a thing for me.
And many people, when we do run for title, a lot of it is gifted and earned. A lot of my pieces are not things I went out and bought. They were gifted to me from somebody. There was something I found in a donation bin that somebody had donated, so somebody would, and come to think of it, most of my stuff in one way or another has come to me through different channels.
Oh yeah.
And it's not something I sought out to buy.
No, I was gifted a pair of leather boots from my very first mistress when I was released.
Very nice.
I was gifted a leather vest by the Red Dragons when I got a supporter patch for supporting them for a number of their events. And so other than my boots and my vest, and my sash, which was gifted to me when I won the title, there's no other leather. And I'm very much, for me, not for everybody, but for me, I will not wear it unless it has been gifted.
And that goes along with the tradition.
I'm very traditional that way. There are other people who they buy their leathers. Good on you. You want to wear full cowhide from top to bottom? Good on you. I've seen my leather brothers, and they all come stand next to me because, and you might have seen it at DomCon, I have big fans because I'm a big girl. I sweat. And so I always have my fan going, and they all come stand next to me. And I'm like, oh, my brothers love me. And they're like, oh, thank you for the fanning. And I'm like, they love my fan. But they love me too. But yeah, I've seen them in the full. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I can't do that.
Very, very warm. Yeah, because I have full leathers, and it's like, I don't wear anything under the chaps because it's too hot.
That's for winter, like dead winter when we're at like
a G-string.
When we're at like 40 degrees. That's when you wear your full leathers.
Oh my God, yes. Some of those pieces, it just gets too warm. Well, we've been having a great time tonight. You have been such a fabulous guest.
Thank you.
But we are getting towards the end where we should really wrap things up.
Absolutely.
Now, what information do you want to get out to our community? Do you have websites?
You can find me on FetLife, Goddess Moon, just the way it sounds. You can find me on Facebook, Moon O'Neill, spelled like Shack, Oneal. It also says Goddess Moon so that you can find me. If you find me on Facebook or on FetLife, send me a message. I do not friend request anybody and everybody. So send me a message letting me know what you're about. I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to be supportive and trying to get through. It's now event season and Pride season. So my next event is coming up this weekend, which is Desire Leather Woman Unleashed. It is a wonderful event of 200 mostly naked women in Palm Springs doing very debaucherous things to each other. After that,
I always hear great things about Desire.
It's got to come out one year. It's wonderful. My next event for those of you not going to Desire or you men who can't come, this weekend is Christopher Street West contest out in LA Pride. So they're picking the new Christopher Street West.
Nice.
This weekend, and the next weekend is LA Pride, which I will be marching with my brothers and sisters. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, we're just getting through that. And I've got a couple contests that I will be judging soon. Mr. Imperial Leather, Miss OCIC, Miss Orange County Imperial Court is coming up. We also have Inland Empire Leather Ambassadors coming up in August. And then we start title season for real.
Wow.
And I start working with Mr. Cyan on the next Miss Sanctuary.
That contest. Is amazing. Your year is booked solid.
My year has been booked solid since January.
That is amazing.
But you know what? I love being out there. I love supporting. I love just getting out there and seeing the wonderful things that everybody is doing.
And we love your presence in the community.
Thank you.
Of all the title holders I have known over the years, you're the one that I have seen the highest presence in the community. I go to an event, you're there. I go to Sanctuary, you're there.
Thank you.
And you know, a lot of the previous title holders, they all had their things that they did. I did not see their presence as much in our community.
Thank you. And I'm just trying. And hopefully soon I will be coming out to Sanctuary again during the day. I'm thinking up little things for you ladies to say thank you, because you guys are awesome.
Aww.
So.
Well, we're glad that you're our Miss Sanctuary Leather.
Thank you.
And we got to wrap this up. My guest next week is Snow Mercy.
Ooh, I'll be watching.
I know. I can't wait. It's going to be an absolutely fabulous show. Was there anything about Naughty or Nice in the chat room this time, Mel?
No, I didn't ask him, but I think she's been nice, naughty.
When we were talking about those books, you got awfully naughty.
Thank you, I tried.
Naughty, Naughty little girl. Yeah, and a lot of people in the chat room, they really enjoyed it. And Frank said that he viewed us on Meerkat, and he says he'll be back, which is great. He came to TSR Network to watch the live shows.
Thank you,
There.
Frank.
He'll be back. Great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you all next week for a great show with Snow Mercy.
Thank you for having me.
Good night.